Okay, we are live. We're live in the Nonprofit Problem Solver Facebook group and on YouTube. So I am here. I'm Kev Kite. I'm here with Jesse Wellhofer. How are you, sir?
I'm doing excellent, Kev. Thanks so much for having me on here today.
Yeah, great. Excited to learn what you're going to share with us. I know you've got, obviously, your product, Continue to Give, but you're going to tell us a little bit about online giving and making using the right tool at the right time, right?
Yeah, really is what we want to focus on today is making giving easy, right? And taking away the roadblocks to give because people are ready to give, they want to give, and I just kind of want to go over some of that stuff to help out your group of nonprofits that you serve, Kev.
Great. Okay, so before we do that, let's just do a little bit of background. Do an introduction of yourself, Jesse, and your background, your sort of move into nonprofits.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Jesse Wellhafer. I've been actually doing kind of mission work my whole life. Kind of grew up in the church. We went to various like weekend or week-long mission trips. And during one of my mission trips when I was older, I was like, man, there's just no easy way to give money. This was more like 10, 15 years ago. And I just kind of envisioned this, we could make a platform where people could see what you're doing. They could see what they're giving money to. And it'd be really easy to give with a credit card and stuff like that. So I set out to build Continue to Give. And that's what we did. And Continue to Give is a full nonprofit suite of tools. And its original focus was on making giving easy, which we excel at. And we like to teach people how to make giving easy. So that's kind of how it all came about. I just needed a tool. I still do mission work and I still use my tools for fundraising. And we're always making them better. And more than just our tools, we try to give some education around the tools so that people are using them correctly, getting the most benefit out of the tools and everything like that.
So what do you see as the sort of common problems of people when they come to online tools? What is it that makes giving not easy? What are some of the roadblocks and obstacles that get in the way?
Right. Well, the first thing that you have is there's a lot of different online giving providers out there, and they offer different types of giving services. Some, they're not doing so well, and some are excelling. So there's kind of two things. Sometimes using a provider that's not up to date and is a bit clunky for the giving experience. That's one thing. And another thing might be giving too many options for people to give, and we'll go into what that looks like. And a third option is giving the wrong option at the wrong time, right? So maybe it's a good giving option, but you've given it at the wrong time. And we
can you give an example? What's something at the wrong an example? I can understand having too many.
Yeah.
what's doing something at the wrong time?
Yeah. So let's just say you sign up with Continue to Give, and you now have text giving, QR code giving. You've got online giving on your website, and you've got Facebook giving, and you've got all these great apps. You even got an app for giving, right?
Okay.
So let's talk about the wrong giving option at the wrong time. So let's say you're like, wow, this is really cool. Continue to Give has a free app for people to download and give. And then you make this really fancy snail mail fundraising letter that you send out to a bunch of people, and you say, to give, download this app. Well, you didn't give them the easiest option in that point, right? Or because you want to give them something super simple. So while that might be an example of the wrong thing to do, I'll give you something that could be the right thing to do. Let's say you've sent out that same really great fundraising letter. Something that you could do is say, to give, text your amount to this phone number. Well, now that's super easy, right? Or scan this QR code. People will just do that and they'll give. So you want to make sure you're giving the right donation option at the right time. And we'll go over all of them today. So I hope that's a good example of one of the wrong things on the wrong medium.
Right. So if you're sending out a letter, what you should have done is the QR code. is use that.
QR code or text to give, absolutely, or a combination. Right. You can do a combination of both of those in a letter. Yep.
Right. Okay. All right. That makes sense. Now you've got a couple of things that you wanted to share. Is this the right time to share your screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hold on. Let me just bring this.
And while as you set that up, I just want to remind people who are watching live in the Facebook group to you can make comments on the in underneath the video, and we should be able to see them and respond to those. If you're watching this later, you can also make comments, and as long as you tag Jesse or myself, then we should be able to see them and respond. So this is always meant to be a conversation to the extent that the technology allows us. Okay, so we're going to add here your screen. Can you see that, Jesse? You're right there?
Yep, perfect. All right, guys.
Take it away.
Here, I kind of made a little presentation to share with you guys, Kev, just give some people some visualization. And we're going to go over some of the right things to do to make giving easy, right? Platforms like Continue to Give, we give you a lot of options, you as the nonprofit, but we don't want you to overwhelm your donors with too many options, if that makes sense. So have options, but don't give options. Instead, lead the way. So here's the main ways that people are going to be presented with your cause or with the ability to give. On your website, you might send out an email or a text to people. You may end up having an event, whether it's a live event or an online event, and we'll talk about that. And then you may send out some snail mail. Of course, those are still great options to be printing things out and sending to people. And then also on social media, whatever social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, you name it. So these are going to be the main avenues that you're going to be reaching out to people, asking them to donate. And we just want to make sure that you give them the right option in these possible situations. So let's talk about the website. So on your website, you're going to want to have your embedded form, or if for whatever reason your tech guy or your website person says, gee, I'm just not able to do that, then you're going to want to maybe just put a link to a form. But the point is when people come to your website, you don't want to say, here's 10 options to give, right? You just want to say, boom, right there is the donation form, and now you can give. It's just that simple. They're already on your website. They can just click and give.
So you don't want to be putting here advertising the app to download or the QR codes, or you don't want to complicate it. You just want to make it really easy.
Yeah.
As you said, they're already on your website. Here's the place to donate.
Absolutely. Imagine having a QR code and they're already on their phone. They can't really take a picture of it anyways when you think about it, right?
Right.
So let's say you send out a mass email to people or a mass text. Here, you're just going to want to put a link to the donation form. I know that doesn't sound fancy or really cool, but at the end of the day, again, boy, they just click the link right from your text or your email, and they're taken right to the donation form. If they're reading the email and they're ready to give, they already know who you are. They already are ready to give. You don't even want to take them to another website and give them 3 more clicks to find the donation form. If they're clicking a donate now button from your email or text, take them right to the form that says amount, credit card, etc. So that's with that. Again, this is not the time to use QR code or anything else like that. Just get them right to the form. All right, let's say you have an event, and we're going to be talking live in-person event here. This is where you're going to want to use your text to give and QR code. This is a great time. They make those little tents, or you could just print
table
out.
Tents, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You put the text to give and QR code on that. And whenever people feel ready to give, they can just give with that text to give or that QR code. And that really, and then you put it on the big screen behind you. And when you're ready to say, hey, now's the time, if you'd like to make a donation or anything like that, go ahead and text to this number or use this QR code and give people a moment to do that. Don't be afraid. Don't be like, well, let's just breeze over this.
Would
No,
you, if you're doing a hybrid event or just an online event, obviously you can't do the table tents.
Yeah.
What would you be giving people? Just the link to the donation form, as in an email or text?
Yep. So in a hybrid, in this case, technically you would do all three, because the people sitting there are going to use the text to give. They're in the event, they're caught up in the moment. And the people watching online, Cav, you're exactly right. You're going to give that link to the donation form so they could just give right there. And also with Continue to Give, we also have a kiosk. So we actually have a really cool self-service kiosk as another thing at events. So you can have that at the door or maybe where people are gathering, and they can just swipe their credit card and give. So a live event is also a good place for a kiosk if you have access to one. Great place for it. But notice at the live event, you're not going to tell people to go to a website. You're not going to give them complicated things. It's just text the amount you want to give to this number.
Right. Nothing about downloading apps or anything.
No, no. And then if you're on social media, or now there's kind of two things that you might want to do here if you are going to promote something on social media. Now here you could do one of two things. With Continue to Give, we give a public fundraising page. You know, I hate to say other names, but a lot of people think of GoFundMe, right? So we give you, for every project or your main organization, you get a GoFundMe type of page with some pictures. It explains who you are, your latest donations. That can be your
type thing.
Yep. So our crowdfunding pages are great to share on social media. And the reason for that is because it's gonna get shared, and people who don't know who you are going to end up clicking that. So that could be a really good opportunity to make sure that they get to read about you a little bit, and that might change their mind on if they're going to donate and even how much. So in that case, a link to a public fundraising page, or if you have a pretty close group and you don't think it's going to get shared, again, the link right to the donation form. So you're probably starting to see the pattern here, like get them from I want to donate to donated as soon as possible.
Right. Make it as easy as possible.
Yeah. Now comes the snail mail that we talked about before. Here is really where you want to get the text to give or the QR code going. So they're reading it, and a lot of times people put their website, but then people don't take the time to go to their computer and type it in, and people never like typing in websites on the phone. You'll find that. And
it's impossible.
Right. Yeah, right. And then so that's where the text to give or QR code work so great right there. So then you're going to be able to do that. And that's a really great spot for the snail mail. Now we have also talked about the app. So Continue to Give also provides an app for donors. And you may say, well, when am I going to promote the app? Now, Continue to Give actually promotes the app for you on your behalf. So after people have given once, that's when we start promoting the app, like right there on the receipt, download this app so you can give again. So if you have a lot of repeat givers, that's when the app becomes really imperative. So churches use it in extreme, like that's their go-to. But if you're an organization that people are going to donate maybe once a year, they're not going to remember that app. They're not going to remember those things. No. So that's why you want to get them in the moment when they're on your website, or you've sent them an email, or you're at an event, and you want to use the correct form at the correct time.
Okay.
And that's really it. So, I mean, you're right. You want to set your goal, make your plan, get to work, stick to it, and reach your goal. So that's kind of it on really making giving easy. And if I can go back to that again, for everyone watching, this is kind of the format you want to stick to.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
you
we're
guys want to
doing,
take a screenshot of that, right?
yeah, right. This might be the time to get it and maybe go to your website and say, boy, why am I promoting text to give on my website? Because if somebody's already on their phone, they're not going to be able to like leave your website and do a text to give, for example, right? You just want that link right there.
Right. So some people get them jumbled up, and some people, in some cases, are just push out all the options and say do whatever's easiest for you. But
Yeah,
that element of choice just creates a bit of confusion, and in fact, that delay stops people from actually pulling the trigger and making the gift.
absolutely. You may think in your head, well, if we let people do exactly what they want, they'll be more likely to give. Unfortunately, that's not usually the case. You've already used up more room, so they might not read everything. They have too many choices now. And a lot of people then just don't understand and they're like, oh, wait, I don't know if I'm using the right one, so I'm just not going to do it.
Right. Okay. Anybody got questions for Jesse? Please feel free to ask them while he's still here live. If you're watching this on replay, that's also okay. Just put a question in the comments and tag Jesse or myself, and we'll make sure that we get an answer to you as soon as we can. Okay. So you had a little video here you wanted to show too. Should I take us off?
Oh, you can keep it here. So this is just kind of our website. So if you go to continuetogive.com, you'll kind of see what we do. And then here was just like the text giving. So we make giving really easy. You just text the amount you want to give and then it donates for you. So you can go from there. And we could talk more about continue to give and some other stuff after we've answered any questions, Kev, or if you have any questions or anything else you'd like to touch base with on making giving easy.
So, so are you done with your presentation? I've just pulled your thing off, if that's all right. But a couple of things. Just what are you seeing as what are the trends telling you about which parts of online giving are working best or are growing fastest? Where are things moving to? Is there anything sort of falling off? I mean, QR codes were sort of new and cool a few years ago. Are people still using them? This sort of thing. What's your data as running continue to give telling you about the state of the industry here?
Yeah. So, well, first off, we could talk about QR codes. When QR codes came out, apparently nobody got what they were. It seemed there was a small group of people that were like, QR codes are the best thing ever. They make sense. Just take a picture. Although they weren't that easy to use because you needed an app for them, right? Now, most cameras on the phone will have some sort of built-in QR code reader. So surprisingly enough, I don't want to say QR codes are making a comeback because it's almost like they didn't work the first time, but now they're starting to work. So you're seeing a lot of people understand them.
They're sort of cleaner and simpler now, aren't they?
Yeah, now that the phones have better, like it's kind of built in. So you're seeing a lot more with menus. When you go to restaurants, especially after COVID, they couldn't have the menus out. So they have a lot of QR codes on their table. Scan this for the menu. So now QR codes are kind of making that rise that they should have to begin with, to be honest. So you'd be surprised. QR codes are a great way. Text giving, obviously huge. What we see the most is most of our donations actually come through recurring. So super important to get people, set up on that recurring giving and stuff like that. And whether you're with all our avenues, people will be able to get set up on recurring giving, so on and so forth. So I don't just want to say, oh, everyone's doing text giving. That's simply not true. They're doing whatever you show them at the moment, whether it's a link, the form on your website, or something like that. And also another great thing too is suggested donation amounts. So Kev, if you want to share my screen again, I'll just show you an example of our donation form. So for example, if you see right here, when people come to our donations, you don't have to do suggested donation amounts, but if you're running a rally then you can do this. Now, someone might say, didn't you just say not to give too many options? But these suggested donations do work in a different way. I was just doing something for Bibles at one point, and this kind of stuff works really good. Someone might just be like, they might come here like, I'll give you $50, but then all of a sudden they're like, hey, why don't I just buy Bibles for a church? And suddenly you turn a $50 donation into a $500 donation.
Well, I think in that case, the reason that would work, assuming that you present that screen at the right time through the journey, so it's not too early and it's not too late, then you're also informing the donor about where that money goes. It's the standard things that, your $10 will buy X or your $50 will buy Y. You just laid it out there in a really simple way. That is sort of different scale levels, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then on top of that, I had mentioned one of the things, a lot of people don't have a clean donation form, right? So like Continue to Give has a super clean donation form, super easy to use and understand. So that was one of the things. Some people might be using older, clunkier systems or PayPal only. And if people don't have a PayPal account or people don't have a Venmo account, right, that stops them from giving. People do have credit cards, get that donation form up there. So we kind of went over 3 things, right? Make sure your form is neat, it's clean. And here's some examples of what a neat, clean form looks like, what I've just shown you here as a donation form. And then don't give people too many options on how to give, like go to our website or text to give or do this. Just give them the right option for that medium.
So this is in terms, again, about when you insert the sort of scale your gift option. This is after you've already, this is literally like right at the point of giving. Once the medium is appropriate, it's really like credit cards already out sort of thing.
Yeah. So credit cards out. They came here ready to type in an amount, and suddenly it's like, oh yeah, you can upsell there. Because they see like, this is why we need $500. This is why we need $1,000. And then that also encourages people to give more in those sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And it's, as you said, it's clean and simple. There's no distraction. There's obviously, I don't know if people can see it so well if they're watching, say, on their phone, but this screen here has a faded photograph behind it, but it's clearly not distracting.
Yeah, that's also important.
It's very obvious what's going on here.
Yep, absolutely. And then I know a lot, like when it comes to your website, not a lot of online giving providers really allow you to embed the form in your website. So now we're kind of jumping to donations on your website. And if you could work with the provider that embeds it into your website, that's even better, so that people don't have to go somewhere else. So for example, like the Toby Keith Foundation and many others, they just embed our website, or they just embed the donation form right into the website. So here they're using our Roundup giving, which is a really cool topic. Would love to go into it more, but if you want to get Roundup going, you can talk to us at Continue to Give. Awesome program. So if people come there, if they just, want to set up a recurring donation, it's just like that, then they can set up $500 and get that set up. So if you do have, so once people are at your website, again, if you don't have to chase them off your website, it's better as well. So that kind of goes back to that first about working with an online provider that gives you a clean form. It can embed in your website and everything like that.
Right. Okay. And if people want to find out more about Continue to Give, can they contact you through the Facebook group, or is there a better place to get hold of you?
Yeah, they can absolutely contact us through the Facebook group. My biggest thing would probably say, go to continuetogive.com and you'll learn more. So I just, you'll kind of just learn more about what we do. And real quick, we actually do the fundraising, right? We make giving easy. We have a full donor management and a fund accounting system. So we've really put together an all-in-one solution here. Kev, for the different nonprofits that we work with and that are constantly looking for a better solution that doesn't break the bank. So you're going to be able to do everything in here. Like you won't need your email. Like if you're doing MailChimp, you can drop that. You can email and text people from here. You'll be able to, get your balances, all your accounting needs done here as well. Sell tickets for events. Everything can be done right here.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think you've carved out a slightly different niche. It's not just a CRM. It's not just an accounting thing. A lot of CRMs don't have that accounting piece, or fundraising platforms don't have all of the elements that you've got in here. So
yeah, absolutely
worth the look.
Absolutely, because over the years we've just continued to expand in our product offering to people just to really get that all-in-one solution going here. So we do have a special offer for people here today. If you want to bring back up the screen.
Oh, sorry about that. Yep, let's have a look.
And I don't know. Yeah, so right now we're offering, so anyone watching this video, if you sign up right now using this code, the X89UW, we're going to give you a 20% off of our donor management and accounting, all the paid for tools, 20% off, and that's a lifetime 20% off. That's not 20% off for 6 months, and then we jump you up to some crazy price like other people do. It's 20% off, lifetime offer. So really great time, to jump on board. Really great time to kind of make giving easy, but then wrap it up all into one so that you can use our system to send out emails, send out texts, do your end of year statements and stuff for people like that, and get it all into one seamless system.
That's great, Jesse. Is there a particular type of nonprofit or size of nonprofit that you guys particularly work well for? Is there a sort of sweet spot in terms of your customers that you are trying to identify?
Yeah, there's a couple things that we've learned our product and that we work well with. So I would say, because our tools, they're very geared towards nonprofits, yet they do all the things that a nonprofit needs. We can serve the small guy all the way up to the big nonprofits. We have, we work with anyone from the startup right up to like the Boy Scouts, for example. So we do work with a wide range, although is what I always find our sweet spot are nonprofits that are raising money and doing something with that money. And you may say, well, isn't that every nonprofit? No, a lot of nonprofits are focused more, they might have a service that they sell, or they might be a nonprofit that does a service and then maybe people pay for that service. So I would say we're not the best fit for those. We are the best fit for small, medium, and fairly large, but maybe not enterprise. Small, medium, and large, not enterprise. Nonprofits really love our tools.
So just to clarify, what I think you said is that if you are charging for a good or a service as part of you're running some sort of enterprise or trading, some sort of quasi commercial activity, then this probably isn't the best tool for you. But if you are providing a service and then raising money sort of separately in that conventional double-handed way, services on one side, revenue and fundraising on another, then this could work really well.
Yeah, which is most nonprofits are like that. So, right. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to say certain nonprofits can't use us, but absolutely, if you're a small, medium, and even large nonprofit, yeah, these tools work good. I mean, you can think of even like Toby Keith or the Boy Scouts and other large organizations do love all the tools that we have to offer here.
That's great, Jesse. Okay, we're coming up to the end of our allotted time here. You got any final comments? Anything you want to share before we sign off?
No, I think just kind of what we covered, Kev. Just make giving simple for people, right? Sell them with what you're doing. Let them know what you're doing, and when they're ready to give, don't block them, right? Make it easy. And I just want to thank everyone so much for this time. We just love being a part of what you're doing. Your cause is important and what you're doing is important. So, hang in there, stick tight, keep doing what you're doing, and you're just going to be able to touch more lives with what you're doing.
That's great words of encouragement to finish us off. Thanks, Jesse. And remember, guys, if you want to comment on just drop a comment in under the video and tag Jesse or myself, and we'll get back to you. And that promo code will give you 20% off, right, for life, which is not a bad deal. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you again.
All right. Thanks. Bye now.